to give us some personal information. After Robert speaks, if you have questions for him, it'll be a question and answer period. After that, we're going to have the homeowners speak about the Walmart water issue on Highway 70. We're also going to have Judy Holman speak about our upcoming rally, and now the date is October 11th, but she'll give you more details. So, Robert, come on up and speak to us, and if you got 15, 20 minutes in you, give it to us.
Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. How are we all doing today? Good. Obviously, you can see that I'm not Jane Morgan. She's far more attractive than I am.
Oh, the girlfriend.
Oh, that's debatable.
Speak for yourself.
We're not gonna go in there. We're gonna go in there. All right. She did tell me to apologize for her. She saw she couldn't be here, but like the doctor said, that she was sick. She was throwing up. Kind of unpleasant. I found out at about the same time he did, about 8:30, 9 o'clock this morning, that I'd be speaking in front of you lovely folks. And needless to say, I was asleep when I found out. I woke up and okay, yeah, I can do it. So then after I woke up, I realized what I agreed to. And yeah, it's a little late now, I guess. All right. I was a Marine for about 10 years. I graduated Lake Hamilton High School.
Right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hey.
Lakeside, go ahead.
Hey.
I joined the Marine Corps in June of 2004. Boot camp, MCT. Became a military policeman in the Marines. My first duty station was Okinawa, Japan. Great place if you ever want to visit it. It's a good tourist location, I would say. I had the honor of visiting a few battlefields. As a Marine, Okinawa, the Okinawan battlefield. I was lucky enough to go to Iwo Jima. For anyone that I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people here should know what that is, if anyone's a historian. After Okinawa, I went to Camp Lejeune, spent the majority of my career at Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. About 70,000 Marines there. And as a military policeman, I can say that wasn't fun. It was not fun at all dealing with 70,000 Marines and antics, should I say. When Marines play, we like to have a little bit too much fun, what can I say. I did my first tour in Iraq out of Okinawa. I was there for about 6 months. My second tour to Iraq I did in 2008. I was there for 13 months. And my final tour overseas was to Afghanistan in June of 2009. I was there for about 8 months. So that's really about it. I ended my career in the last 3 years in the Corps instructing the military police at Fort Leonard, Missouri. As far as my experience overseas goes, dealing with the Muslim faith, and I can say no matter what country you're in, whether it be Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, Iran, Pakistan, you're going to run into different people. You're going to run into different extremes. You're going to run into people that love you, people that hate you, and people that just don't care. And if I had to say anything about most of the people that I dealt with, that we dealt with as Marines, it was most of them. They don't care that we're there. They don't care why we're there. They don't care if we stay. They don't care if we go. And I hate to say that, I really do. But a lot of those people, they have lived the way they live right now for
Forever.
a long time, 1,000 years or more. I spent time in a village in Afghanistan without running water. We couldn't shower for 5 months. We didn't have a change of clothes. We lived in the dirt, in the mud. We slept under the stars. We didn't have anything. That's just how it was. I mean, there was running water there in the form of well water. There weren't any pumps. You'd have to hoist it up yourselves out of the bucket. But you didn't really trust that water because we found insurgents sleeping down in the bottom of the well,
Oh.
spying on us. That was a fun day. Not really. That whole village, there was not one single light bulb in that whole village. Not one electric circuit other than the ones we brought with us. And the ones we brought with us ran on diesel fuel from generators. They didn't care that we were there. It didn't faze them. I mean, I guess the only reason they might care if we was there is that every now and then we blocked the road and didn't let them pass, so they can get out to their fields, or so they can go from one end of the city to the other. Or I say city, we'll call it a village. From one end of the village to the other. It's the extremists that we're fighting. It's the ones that actually have power. The ones that keep the masses ignorant. I think we've all heard that term. That's what they do. They keep the masses in those countries completely ignorant. They're uneducated. They're not wealthy. They live in the dirt and the muck. They live in. You know how many people would live in a building this size, just the size of this room? Probably 10 or 15. The size of this room, if not more. That'd be a family. That's just how they live. But it's the insurgents that we're fighting. We're not the insurgents. Wow. It's the ones that have power that we're fighting, the extremists. The ones that take everything that the prophet, I believe it was the prophet, they take everything he said to the extreme, to the far extreme. And they're the ones that want to attack our way of life, that want to hurt us, that want to bomb our cities, want to kill our children, that want all these horrible things to happen to us over here in America and the rest of the world. Anyone that's not in their faith, they believe is against them. And that's what we were fighting. And it's really hard to weed them out when you're walking down the street of a village of a couple thousand people and you have no idea who the enemy is. We were surrounded for 5 months. And we knew it. Utterly surrounded. There was about, I'd say, 45 Marines in this village. And we were surrounded by the insurgents that were outside our compound walls in Iraq, or Afghanistan, excuse me. But what's more, we were surrounded inside our own walls by the Afghan National Army and the Afghan National Police that we were there to train, teach them our tactics, teach them how to fight like us. A lot of Marines and soldiers, sailors, and airmen never agreed with that. Why would I teach my enemy how to fight like me? Why would I teach my enemy how to have an attitude like I do, an attitude of no quit, no surrender, never give up? Why would I want them to know how to fight like me? And why would I arm them with American weapons? But that's what we're doing. I saw it firsthand. I did it firsthand, under orders. And that's where we were surrounded. I mean, that was our primary concern. These guys that went on these patrols with us, that were supposed to protect us and have our back, they, more often than not, would end up shooting us. And then they'd run off. I mean, that's the kind of war we're fighting. I remember one day in particular, I can't give you the date, when I was in Afghanistan, the days kind of melded together, much as we got shot at over there. One day we got back from patrol. The patrol was pretty uneventful. We got back to HQ. We were sitting there going over what we were going to do for the next day. And as a military policeman, I guess I'll go over this first, I do apologize, we're not infantry. We get attached to infantry units and we become provisional infantry. Basically, we become infantry. MP in the Marine Corps doesn't stand for military police. It stands for multi-purpose, meaning you'll do whatever the heck the United States government and the Commandant of the Marine Corps says you need to do. So we became provisional infantry. We beefed up infantry numbers. And the infantry commander there, lieutenant, got in an argument with the Afghan National Army commanding officer in the company there that was under technically the Marine Corps' jurisdiction and command. They got in a bit of an argument. And at one point, this Afghan National Army officer pulled his pistol down on the lieutenant. Lieutenant did the same thing, pulled his pistol. And then all of a sudden, interpreters are yelling, drop your weapons, and Marines are yelling, drop your weapons. And now, I was outside, I wasn't in the room when this happened. And I'm outside, and one of the towers that's supposed to be protecting my compound is an Afghan national soldier. He takes his belt-fed RPK with 200-round belt, takes it from pointing outside the tower walls, picks it up and points it straight at me. Racks it and gets ready to go. And I'm standing there inside my compound. I don't have a weapon. We just got back from patrol. I don't have my body armor on. I'm walking around trying to cool off and relax. So I'm just, what's going on? I see cover. I try to get to a weapon as fast as I can, and next thing I know, no firefight started. Apparently, we were able to calm things down, but a lot of us didn't know what was going on. But we had basically your Mexican standoff. That's what you want to call it. We had a standoff between us, the Afghan National Police, and the Afghan National Army for about 10 minutes. It could have been a really nasty little firefight if that had happened inside those walls. The compound itself, probably about the size of the parking lot in this building, the walls and everything. So with a few ins and outs and other compound walls, it's kind of a few compounds inside a compound. It's kind of hard to describe. But it would have been a pretty nasty little fight inside those walls. And they outnumbered us. There's about 150 of them.
But you're smarter.
Yeah, but most of us didn't have our weapons. Like I said, we just got back from patrol. In the compound, we usually relax a little bit because when we're outside the walls, you go instantly to what we call a red state. I mean, you're on alert. Everything that moves you see, or at least you hope you see. You're trying to avoid getting shot at by snipers, which we had a big problem with. You're trying to avoid stepping on IEDs and landmines. You're trying to keep people away from the group when they come up to you, because they'll come up to you wearing suicide vests and detonate themselves. It doesn't matter how old you are. I've heard children do it. I've never experienced that guy. I've had friends that have told me they had to shoot children in Iraq that were wearing vests trying to kill them. That's horrible. That's tragic. So we got to do what we got to do. What we got to do over there. I mean, it's them or us, right? I hate to say that. I'm sorry. What?
Why are we there?
Yeah, why?
I can't tell you why the government did what they did. I can't speculate for political reasons. You could probably sit here. I probably could point someone over there, someone right here, and someone right there. We could have 3 or 4 different theories going in this room at once as to why we're actually there. I really can. And we could argue about it until we're all blue in the face. And once we're done arguing, you know what we'll come to the conclusion at the end? Nothing. I don't know. Who cares? I was a Marine. I followed orders. That's all I could do. I can give you my own theory as far as tactics are concerned, if you would like to hear it. When President Bush declared the war on terror, what happened? Anyone remember? We all kind of remember? Did we really have a place to fight? We declared war on terror. Where's terrorism? It's everywhere. It's literally in almost every country on earth. How do you fight that? How do you fight that with somewhere around 2.5 million troops? Actually, I would say 1.7 million troops. How do you fight that? How do you fight in every country on earth? You don't. So we went to Afghanistan. A couple of years later, Afghanistan ended up being pretty easy in the early phases of the war. We didn't commit any really heavy troops. And then Iraq happened in 2003. We go into Iraq, we take the country. One thing we didn't do. We didn't close off the border. It took us a while to control the border. Now, if you can think tactically for a second, why would we do that? Why would we hesitate on closing the border? We planted our flag in Baghdad, and if you think tactically, if you can somehow picture this, we planted our flag in Baghdad, we put our feet there, we left the borders open, and we said, come get us. After the first year in Iraq, what were we fighting? We were fighting insurgents. We weren't fighting Iraqi nationals. We were fighting foreign fighters. And that's pretty much all we fought for 10 years. And I can actually roll a little bit of current events into this. We've all heard of ISIS, right? And what's going on with them, what they're doing in Iraq? Well, there are theories now and evidence now supporting that they were the ones behind every foreign fighter group down here for the past 10 years in Iraq that we were fighting. They were the ones doing it all. There's evidence to support that now. There's all kinds of articles out there about it. I think CNN posted one. So that tells you how big ISIS is. I mean, they're probably the largest, most organized paramilitary group that doesn't have a country in history and all. I mean, they've taken over Syria and Iraq almost single-handedly from a military that we trained. Of course, they didn't listen, but nonetheless, that we trained. From a military that we armed. It tells you a little something about ISIS, how serious they are. One of the things I did a lot of research this morning because I was trying to, because Jan told me what she was going to speak about, and I was trying to get a little bit of information about current events. I've been in the police academy for 12 weeks, so I was a little out of it. Anyone know what ISIS' ultimate goal is?
Take over the world.
Caliphate.
What was that again?
Caliphate.
Caliphate. They're trying to form a united Arab front by founding their own country, right where Iraq and Syria is right now. That's what they're starting. That's their ultimate goal. And I think that if they actually do that, we're going to be in a little bit of trouble. If they actually all come together under one banner and stop fighting each other, as they have been for thousands of years, and actually turn their sights on the West, that's what's going on right now. That's what they're trying to do. And it's the proof's in the pudding. And that's what we're fighting. And it's extremely hard to fight people like that. It's extremely hard to change the ways of people that have been set in their ways for longer than we've been a nation.
Oh, yeah.
And that's saying something. I mean, they've lived this way for, as we said, thousands of years. We've been a nation for 240 years-ish, roughly.
Many of our generals, retired generals, and we do a lot of bombing. It hasn't been ordered.
Well, that's because of the UN and certain regulations. We can't, after World War II, we no longer can carpet bomb entire cities like we used to get the enemy and dig them out. We can't do that anymore. We have to select specific targets and military targets. We can have reasons for it. I mean, that's all because of UN resolutions.
Are you saying the UN dictates our war?
They shouldn't. No. I think the problem is politics are dictating war. And my experience in war, though, I was just a lowly sergeant. I wasn't an officer. I wasn't a general. I wasn't a great leader of battalions or companies. But I've seen it from the inside, and I can say that politicians need to stop trying to think they know how to fight a war better than a general officer does.
Amen.
And that's the views of many American Marine soldiers, sailors, and airmen. I mean, they're generals for a reason. They've done this for 30-something years. Pretty sure they know what they're doing. Hopefully. But politicians seem to think they know how to fight a war better than them. Politicians that have never been on a battlefield.
Yeah.
Politicians that never had a round crack past their face. That have never seen their buddies, their brothers, die right next to them. They don't know what that's like, but yet they still think they know how to fight wars.
They need permanent.
I agree. I actually agree. But we can't change the ways of these people. It's not going to happen. You want to fight terrorism? Fight it. Blow them off the face of the earth. I don't know, does anyone have any questions for me? I'll go around. Sir.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I can actually. He asked what, with my involvement in the mixture of all the troops that I've been around, he asked me what the general idea is of our president, basically, and the policies of the country.
Yeah.
Yeah, how do our troops feel about it? Well, now that I'm no longer active duty, I can actually say this. If I was still on active duty, I have to say I couldn't answer that question legally. Because, yeah. I'm going to refrain from using language that I shouldn't use. Pretty much the entire military hates that SOB. He's not a big fan of ours. Some of his recent policies have ticked a lot of us off. Both those of us that are active duty and former, especially that traitor. I think we really anyone know who we're talking about. The former sergeant in the Army, or special. Anyway, that abandoned his post, left a note. His whole unit basically said that he's a traitor. He went over to the other side. 5 years later, we capture him, or he turned himself back into us. You hear what Obama did? Reinstated him, gave him back his back pay, put him back on active duty, and made him a sergeant. I have a bit of a problem with that. And if he isn't already, it won't surprise me if he turns up dead somewhere, in the hands of
expired.
Yeah. In my honest opinion, some of the things he's done, releasing those 5 terrorists, and a few other things, I think that man should be impeached and charged for treason.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am?
Well, on C-SPAN, they had this lady who was a Muslim church.
Ma'am, I'm sorry, I need you to speak up. I'm half deaf.
This lady, Nona Garland, B-A-R-C-H, never saw her. She explained not only is the Muslim a religion, but it is a form of government control. They want to control the people. And they keep them ignorant so that they can tell them exactly what to do. Does this sound familiar? And she explained it, that the only place she can go now is the United States and Israel, because she's on a death list. Because they do not want opposition, just like they said, Hamas is killing anyone who is standing up against them now in Gaza and shooting them and counting them as casualties. This is a form of government, and that's what they're doing.
Yes, ma'am.
Has the president been able to replace all the worthwhile generals with acts? The generals that he replaces, the good generals, he's forced the good generals out.
Yes. General Mattis and a few others from the Army. They're all...
But are there still worthwhile generals?
There are.
Good.
There are. There's a lot of worthwhile generals still in there. Now, whether or not he's manipulating them, or whether or not the government's trying to manipulate some of them, I don't know.
I'll take that for granted.
I can tell you this, from my own experience, talking to my own brothers and sisters in arms, they are never going to be able to manipulate the military against the American people. The military, I promise you, 90% of the military will stand up and say, screw you.
Yay!
They're not. They'll turn on the government before they turn on the American people.
Good.
There's a reason we fight. There's a reason we do this for all of you. I've got one more question right here, Robbie.
Yes. What can we do to take back our country? And also, the second question is, have you ever thought about being a public servant as an elected official?
No, I haven't. I'm not a politician.
I didn't say a politician. I said elected servant as a political elected official.
What?
Could you repeat the question?
I asked, what can we do to take back our country? And then he asked me if I ever thought about serving our country or the people as being an elected official.
Think about it.
How do we take back our country? Okay, I'm very, very conservative. And I might be a little extreme, so please don't take what I say to heart.
This is the tea party.
Yeah. Thank you, man. Thank you. No, as far as taking back our country, short of another revolution, I I don't know, because there's almost nothing that we can do short of removing our government with force.
Yes.
There's almost nothing you can do, because they're too powerful, they're too big, they've got too much control. Now, as far as me running for an elected office, I've never thought about it. My drive in life has been to protect people and help people.
How better way you do it?
Well, that's why I was a Marine, and that's why I'm a police officer now. I'm more of a physical protection, hands-on type of protector than I am.
You've got a cell phone and a pen. That's hands-on.
I wrote a desk. I sat behind a desk for 13 months in Iraq, my second tour, and I hated every second of it, so I don't think I'd be a good politician. Yes, ma'am. Last question? Oh, wow. That's the last
No,
question.
you get the last question.
He's going for 5 weeks.
Oh, it's you had to, okay,
Son of a
good
bitch.
question.
When you said that there might not be any way for us to take back, I hope that's not true. One of the things that we try to focus on here is that we stand together for liberty. And I know we shoot our arrows and sometimes perhaps too many, but my concern is if we're going to stand together for liberty, where are those military officers who have this virtue and the principle? And I understand about what they believe would do while they're in the service, but quite frankly, I would hope to see some four-star resign their commission and say, this is what's true and this is what's right. Because quite frankly, I think that the military can be and already has been used in opposition to the principles of the people. So my question is, do you believe that there are people in the military that know the truth and that will come forward and state the truth so that we can, without war among ourselves, stand for and take back our country for liberty?
Did everyone hear that?
Yeah.
Everyone heard that? Okay. Okay. I do believe there are, but you have to also think that a lot of them, that's their livelihood. And they've got families and everything to support.
Yeah, well, that's down to.
Oh, I know, and I agree. But right now, I think, like I said, 90% of the military will stand up and defend what's right. Okay? They're not going to support a tyrannical government. They won't do it.
They
Okay?
didn't do anything in Benghazi, did they? I mean, they didn't step up.
Yeah, they
Yes,
died.
they did.
Yeah, they did.
Well, those guys did.
Yeah, but that was the government not sending troops over. The government would not send more troops. Okay, what happened in Benghazi? You're talking about the consulate attack, right?
Yeah.
What happened in Benghazi is unforgivable. Okay, that was American soil being attacked. There are United States Army Special Forces around the globe, as well as Marine Corps fast companies around the globe, stationed all over the place for that very reason. So when our consulates, when our embassies, when our soil abroad becomes under attack, there are troops that can be anywhere in this country, on this planet, within a few hours. We had troops about 2.5 hours away.
Right.
They were right across the Mediterranean Sea.
Why didn't they come?
Had to remember geology for a second. They were right across the sea, 2 hours away tops. Marine Corps Fast Company, and in Germany there's Special Forces response teams from the United States Army there.
Okay, I didn't know if you had any news, so I had to come up immediately. Is there anything, Reggie, Tracy, anything from the city directors or quorum court or anything that we should go through? Okay, Mayor, would you introduce your friends?
I don't know if you guys are all informed with what's going on with our community, but they blame the city of Hot Springs for a lot of things, and I'm not sure who the city of Hot Springs is, since we are elected officials. I'm the mayor. We have 6 other elected officials, and then I found out by the grapevine that Walmart wanted to move to the Piercy area, and they were denied that right to do so to have water, which would be equivalent to 17 houses, that's all. And it was denied. I didn't know it, and I had no clue. The city manager made the decision without any counsel with the board at all, didn't come before us at all. So there are property owners that have been working with that transaction for quite a long time, and I just listened to them the other day. They said, we don't know what to do, we've got lots of money tied up in this, people have already done research, and according to them, Walmart was given the approval for water way back in January, but that's being denied now that it ever happened. But I think they have documents and papers, and so I said, well, they said, what can we do? And I said, well, the best thing I know is to make it public, let your voice be heard, tell the community. We are a community. I hate what's happening with us and them. You know, and what blows my mind is if we would take all of the businesses in Hot Spring City that are owned by people who live across the river, that are in the county, I mean, we wouldn't have any businesses probably, because there's a lot of people that own businesses and pay in taxes and do all that, but they have a house in the county. So we're playing us and them, and it's really wrong. I feel it's wrong. I am the only one that's standing up against this. I just gut level. I'll tell you where I'm coming from. I lived in a third world country where there was no infrastructure. There was no water, and we had electricity maybe 4 to 6 hours a day, and we never knew what time that electricity would come on. Sometimes it was in the middle of the night. But we had a well in our yard, and it was drilled by the church that supported us there. And all of our neighbors lived in little huts with mud floors, and they had no running water. And when I first moved there, I couldn't stand it. So I put the water hose outside my gate. And women would come with 5-gallon buckets all day and carry those buckets back to their houses on their heads and carrying 5-gallon jugs in their hands. And I gave away water. And I remember one day my husband came and said, you can't do this anymore. Our well's going to run dry. And I said, you know what? God is in charge of our well. And if it runs dry, it runs dry. And I have some principles I live on. Give, and it shall be given unto you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. And if we stop giving and we stop sharing, especially the basic things of water, I think we're into nailing the last nail in our own coffin. And if we're kind and gentle and agreeing with our neighbors who live across the lake, then I think they're going to be more kind and agreeing with us, and we're not going to have a battle and a war all the time. A lot of it's too short for us to battle the county against the city forever and live in that kind of atmosphere. I hate that atmosphere, I hate that feeling, and I want to work together with our neighbors and our county and our community. Community is people. It's not concrete and water lines and buildings and metal. It's people, and every decision we make has to do with people and their lives. And I am tired of it. Yes, I am tired of it. I'm mad about it. And last night I brought it up to the city board at our agenda meeting, and I was the only one that was willing to even go there. I said, are we just going to leave it like it is and not say a word about it? And then our city manager, multi-million-dollar business where our people can sell property and we can have, you know what, Mercy laid off all kinds of 100 people, and so did Monroe Shoes. They went out of business and they laid off people. We need jobs. How can we say no? We don't want a company that's going to hire people, hundreds of people, give them jobs, give them insurance, give our families money that they need. How can we look at the small picture and say, oh no, if we give them that property and we give them water, then they're going to take our tax dollar away. It's not about water, folks. It's not about water. It's about control. I'm tired of the atmosphere of control, and we will control you by cutting off our water. And I just, I may get shot doing this, but I want to invite Randy to Kel and where's Andy? There's Barry. Would y'all come up here and just tell your story?
Thank y'all. I understand Barry got sick, so anyway, Andy's here. I'm Randy Raquel. I'm a businessman in Hot Springs, their own business. Own several pieces of property in Hot Springs and several pieces of property in the county. on the large business in there. I employed about 70 people in the county. Sold that business, moved to Hot Springs, didn't move to Hot Springs, still lived in Royal. And come to Hot Springs, bought another business, got it up, got it running, doing real good. Paying between $4,000 and $6,000 a month city sales tax. So I represent both sides. I'm with the city and with the county. But the problem I had a piece of property in the county, and Walmart come to me and they want to buy it. I didn't buy that piece of property to live there. I bought it as an investment to sell someday. What a great deal. Here comes Walmart wanting to buy it. So I'm in it for Randy. I'm an investor. I bought that to make money on. Put the deal together. The city told them in a pre-meeting, yeah, go out and find your land, get your dirt, find out what all you want to do. We'll open arms, we'd love to have you here. They come back, hey, we're ready to go, we've made the deal.
Jack.
We need some water. Oh, wait a minute, that's going to be a problem. And if you read the newspaper this morning, it was on the front page, Walmart got turned down for water. And we didn't get turned down for water. We got lots of water. Got a water meeting Thursday, 5:30 at the Convention Center. They're going to let us know where we are with our water. An independent survey company. This is not the county or the city. Anyway, that meeting's coming up. It's about sales tax. Mayor Carney sent me a letter that Mr. Watkins wrote her back in reference to her letter, why did you turn Walmart down? And I have that email, and basically it says in there, we turned them down because we want the city tax. You know, basically it's about tax, it's not about water. Says right in his email, they want to buy the cheap dirt, call it the cheap property in the county. How many lives in the county? You got cheap dirt. We all own cheap dirt.
I live on the lake.
And he called it cheap dirt. He says, now we got some nice property in the Higdon corridor. They come there. How you going to get water there? You know, is there a water source on Higdon Ferry that supplies those people? It's the same principle. So it's not about water, it's about taxes. And I understand that part of it. But the part I don't like is I'm an investor out in the county, and he just all but said, if you own property out there,
Deep
it
dirt.
ain't worth a flip. Dig a well, get you an outhouse or whatever you need to do. But you're not going to get any of this stuff in the city. My main gripe there is probably 80% of what I make I spend in Hot Springs.
Exactly.
You know, I'm not running over to Benton or Arkadelphia, and if I go out to eat, I do it in Hot Springs. If I buy an automobile, I do it in Hot Springs. Anything I do, I spend my money in Hot Springs. I'm the guy paying the taxes. You know, so with that said, why can't we have water out in the county? You know, can we afford to turn down the largest retailer in the world? Y'all go away, we don't need you. What if, think about this hardship. Walmart said, I'll tell you what, let's do, let's shut them all three down tomorrow. Let's see how they like that.
That could be good.
Now, would that not create a real hardship on these people? The city, where would you buy stuff that you're running to Walmart to get? Groceries and car needs and stuff like that, it's gone.
The county.
Jobs lost.
It's gone, the job
County
loss.
needs to get their.
But anyway, that's my point on it. They're running, it's all about sales tax. It's not about you people.
Thank you.
My name's Andy Bishop. I own a piece of property out on 7 South.
Speak up, put close to your
I was
mouth.
also approached by Walmart to sell 6.8 acres to put a merchant store out there for the city. And we were also denied. water permit. On a merchant store, it takes 2.5 services to run a merchant store. And on my property right now, we have 2 services. So all the city really had to do is increase the main 2 inches and increase the load by 1/2 of a home to apply to get that merchant store put into place out there.
Yeah.
That's really upsetting me because they're talking $10.5 million in construction.
Yeah.
They're talking 50 jobs. They're talking not only that, but 6 months of construction, the service area, and all that stuff. And the reason Walmart, in my opinion, is moving these stores out in the boundaries is not to capture Hot Springs business, but to capture the surrounding business.
It's convenient.
Okay, convenience,
Sure.
of course. If they don't allow the Walmart in out on Hickman Road, you're going to see a Walmart in Glenville.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen. The people we need to bring the people in. Don't count us as suburbs. Count us as Hot Springs. And then move it. You know, all they're trying to do is, these people are smart. Walmart are not idiot people. They know where to put their stores.
Right.
Okay, and then they come to us, and there's one man. This is what really pissed me off the worst. When I approached all this stuff, the decision was made by one man on, let's say, a $50 million project for the city. Was vetoed by one man without going before the city council. I don't know what to do to force this council to sit this down and say, hey, we're screwing the people.
We know what to do.
I have no idea. I'm lost in. I'm in store. They know what? My piece of property is they're to put a 4-lane through there. You know, down there. If I wait till 2017, I'll double my money. Okay, but that's not the
He's
principle.
against it. Is this in the city that they denied?
I'm 1 mile out. I'm right across the National Town Post, right next to Camview Road.
Why don't you annex?
I volunteered to annex. You know what they told me? No.
They want to pull forward.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
There's a couple issues that the city presents. The city doesn't have fire protection, so to annex you, they got a problem.
I paid my taxes there for 30 years.
I know. And the other issue, Dr. Jack mentioned the sales tax. The sales tax, Randy Foley fired a shot across the bow when they turned Harps down. And the city manager's carrying the bidding there, and the Chamber of Commerce is doing the bidding for the city. But when David Watkins said we can have businesses locating outside of the city limits on the outskirts of the city and stealing money from our fire department, he's a liar. Nobody outside of the city limits.
We've got a thorn in it.
Nobody outside the city limits owes $1.
Why don't we get rid of it?
Fire department or Hot Springs City. And while we may think that all this is so great, there's twice as many people approximately in the county area than there are in the city. And as
We're 59,000 strong versus 35.
Right.
We pay 1.5 times the rate for the water right now.
Yes.
Okay, so we're actually supporting the city.
Exactly.
Part of my job is to try to get us out of here.